Hi, I'm Trooper Smacka.
Hi, I'm Trooper Wellman,
Please stay tuned for a behind-the-scenes look at being a state trooper.
and together we can make a difference.
Here we are live at the 360 Vegas studios. We're here for the 100th episode. We have very special guests. We have Major Honey here, we have Lieutenant Stunkel, and Trooper Wellman's going to come on with us in a moment. And so, Major Honey, first of all, I appreciate very much that you would take the time to come down to the studio. It's very important that when we talk about the troopers that we always want to display them in the best possible way, and so that everybody gives them the most respect. And, we couldn't do this if the leadership wouldn't allow us to do this. And so when we go to the ceremonies, you always talk about the leadership from down, and everybody feels it. And so I appreciate you being here.
First of all, from the men and women of the Nevada Highway Patrol, congratulations on 100 episodes.
Thank you.
And thank you for dedicating just one segment to the issues that we're seeing on highways and on roadways throughout the state of Nevada. So I'm proud to represent the men and women of the Highway Patrol, and thank you for helping to spread our message throughout 100 episodes.
Yeah, it's really been an honor. And part of how we do it, when everybody comes in and they want to talk and everything like this, it's an open conversation. Mm-hmm. And so, when we go and we film at the Southern Command, everybody is very appreciative when we come there and we talk and everything like this. And from the beginning, anytime that we've ever cornered you into a little area, Johnny and I, with the microphone, you've always come on camera. And so, it's very wonderful in a weird sort of way, very starstruck with the fact of you being here. And so it's just a very big honor.
It's the very least we can do. And it's wonderful for you guys to show up at our promotional ceremonies and those recognition ceremonies that we have, because you have the ability, you have a different reach, right, than our Facebook page and our social media. So for you to be able to get over the airwaves in Las Vegas and to show some of the great work that's being done by our people and some of the retirees of people that have given a 20-year career to the great state of Nevada, 25-year career. And it's important to see our new set of leaders that are coming up, and you guys are always there for the promotions and for all of the recognition, and I think it's been a wonderful partnership, so thank you.
Yeah. So on the 100th episode, we always sit here and talk, that people really need to slow down, with the impairment, how do you direct everybody underneath you to say the same exact thing over and over again? And we just keep talking about it, but Sergeant Smacka was on this morning, and they're still catching people at 100 miles an hour plus driving on the roads.
Our message hasn't changed, and that's the beautiful thing. Since in the 20 years of my career, it's been basically belts, booze, and speed, right? If we could get people to slow down, if we could get people to put that seatbelt on, and if we could, anybody that chooses to make alcohol part of their nightly celebration, dedicate a driver, designate a driver. There's Uber and there's Lyft and there's taxi cabs. It's just not worth it. So I think we stay connected to that message because it really hasn't changed. If we could change those three driving behaviors, driving too fast, putting your seatbelt on, and never ever drink and drive, we would have a profound impact on the fatality rates in the state.
And so when it comes to the driving here, when you command everybody that's underneath you, it takes a special person to be able to provide that leadership. And that's one of the things that we always talk about when we always talk about going to NevadaStatePolice.com to try to become a trooper, right? That the leadership is there. So talk to us about the leadership so that we can try to get more people that want to join the department to do all the different things.
I can tell you that for us, and this goes all the way up to the director's office, we preach family first, and we try very hard to take care of our people on an individual basis. But we're fortunate; we have a lot of young, very dedicated troopers who support the mission of the Highway Patrol, and they go out there on a day-to-day basis, and they go out there and they take care of their jobs, and we're writing the 100+ tickets, the 100+ miles per hour citations, unfortunately, because they're still out there. But I think if we're providing them with a safe environment, a lot of our troopers are still learning the job, and they're still coming into their own. So we're trying to be that North Star. We stay consistent and we stay steady, and giving them something to shoot for. So our message really hasn't changed. We've got a lot of really good young people. We would like more. Obviously, you've documented the staffing shortage very well, and we're confident that the pay raises granted to us by the governor and by the legislative bodies up north, 20+%. We can now compete with some of those municipal agencies, and in order to get those staffing numbers back up. Thank you for spreading the word.
Yeah.
Anybody out there that is interested in or has ever considered a career in law enforcement, I can tell you that this is the most rewarding job that is out there. Every day I get to put on this cool Superman costume, and I know that at some point in my day, even at my rank now where I'm not on the road all the time, I'm going to have the ability to have a positive impact on somebody's life. And it's the coolest job in the world. Yeah.
All right. So look at this camera right here and tell everybody that if they need to get a career, where do they go? NevadaStatePolice.com. Right in here.
Yeah, if you're looking for a rewarding career with a retirement and daily job satisfaction, I recommend wholeheartedly the Nevada State Police.
Take-home car.
Yeah, there's a lot of benefits to it. We do have a take-home car. We have increased uniform allowances. The pay parity is a little better now. So I can tell you that of all of the jobs in law enforcement, this is the one that I chose, and I could speak to you, Neil, all afternoon about why I chose the Nevada Highway Patrol, and it's been the best decision I ever made.
Well, Major, we appreciate the fact that you came on, especially today on the 100th episode. So thank you very, very much. We'll just wave at the camera and tell everybody that we'll see him soon, okay?
Slow down, put your seatbelts on, and we'll see you soon.
Here we are live at the 360 Vegas studios with Lieutenant Stunkel. And we're here for the 100th episode, obviously. So here's what a lot of people don't know. Okay, that in the eyes of tragedy, when there was no one else, there was you.
Thanks.
And so I know you on a different personal level than just as being Lieutenant Stunkel and being with the Nevada State Police and doing all that type of stuff. And so there are words of expression and there are words of like the deepest of empathy, because Chelsea is the president of the IPOF. And so when our dear friend Lieutenant Lloyd had tragically passed away in 2020 and the IPOF was in a tailspin, and I'm getting the chills because it's the truth, and no one knew what to do. And there was no leadership, but there was leadership in so many directions, and there were so many heads on the snake that no one knew what was going on, and no one knew how to sort of corral it to make it a place that the IPOF was known for, which was to help officers in the eyes of tragedy or injured in the line of duty. And so you did that. And so at that time you were a sergeant.
Correct.
And so the feelings that I have towards you, and so when I go to the when I go to the IPOF meeting, it's very important. Chelsea's husband, I always give the mugs to and stuff like that too. You know, it's so beyond the fact of the uniform, and so in this, because this is, you did a president's message when the lieutenant first passed away, and you have not filmed since that message.
Right, yeah, I haven't been back. And you go straight for the heart first thing.
Right. And so the love that I feel for you, for what you did for the IPOF is tremendous.
Thanks, Neil. And, you know, that goes both ways because your support of the Injured Police Officers Fund is beyond anything we've ever seen. You know, the community always steps up in time of tragedy. It's always just like breathtaking, but you stand by our side every day and support our cause and what we do. So thanks to you for that too.
Yeah, and I go to the IPOF meeting. It's very important, and so I get 10 minutes and I talk to everybody and I tell everybody that everybody loves them and everybody supports everybody, and so it's very wonderful.
Yeah, we really need that. All of our members are volunteers. All of our board members are volunteers, and
All right, so now let's talk about Trooper.
okay.
So you were a sergeant, and you were not on the road.
I was not. So I started my career at Nevada Highway Patrol on the road as a trooper. I actually was the PIO for a period of time, like Trooper Wellman. And then I went over to parole and probation for a short period of time. Another great reason to join the Nevada State Police. You have so many options with different divisions and different things that you can do. So I really enjoyed my time at parole and probation, promoting there, and then going to our internal affairs division, which we call OPR. So that's where I was as a sergeant prior to coming back to the patrol.
And so when you aren't on the road and then you come back on the road, there's sort of like, wow, like it's really that bad?
Yeah, I mean, times have changed. You kind of fall right back into the routine of things and how to do your job. But the city has grown. Our agency has not necessarily grown with those changes. We're trying to correct that now. And like the major just said, people are still doing the same things that they did 10 years ago, driving too fast, not wearing their seatbelts, driving impaired, driving distracted. So there's a lot of things that are the same. But yeah, our city has grown a lot and the traffic volume has increased. And, you know, some of the dangerous things that we're seeing out there.
And so you're during the daytime.
Yes, I'm the
right?
day shift. Yep.
And so Sergeant Smacka was here earlier describing some of the nighttime activities, but during the daytime, the same activities are still going on, right?
Yeah, I mean, the roadways are obviously different. I remember standing on the side of the road when I worked graveyard and my sergeant at the time saying, "Isn't this awesome? We could skateboard down the freeway right now. The traffic volume is different." So you see some different things, different crimes and increased DUI numbers at night. But people, like you said, are still speeding. They're still driving recklessly day or night.
Yeah. On the last episode of the Trooper Talk, we had the joining forces where they were catching those Teslas 123 miles an hour, you know, on the freeway.
Yeah.
And so that, you know, when people are driving of these type of speeds, there's no way to drive safely.
No, you're putting yourself at risk, any of your passengers, and all of the drivers around you. I remember as a PIO, you felt kind of like a mockingbird, just repeating yourself all the time, but it's so important because you might stop someone and cite them and it might change their behavior, hopefully, and just affect them to change their driving habits, period, for the rest of their time. But like I said, just constantly that repeating yourself of when you are behind the wheel, and I know Ashley loves this saying, lives are in your hands. And that's the truth. And you know, teenagers, when they're getting their license, they're so excited to start driving and that freedom, but we have to remember what a huge responsibility it is. I remember always quoting Spider-Man when I was the PIO, you know, with the driving comes such a great responsibility.
Yeah, it is. You know, she always, when she's on here, she says, if you don't trust somebody with your life, then you need to not be going into the car with them
Right.
because something isn't right. You know what I mean?
Right.
So let's talk about something else. You know, one of the things that we talk about is the fact of being a woman and being, you know, a lieutenant and being on the road. You know, and that it's not just a man's profession, that, you know, women and men can both become, have successful careers as being a trooper, and then also being not part of the law enforcement, because they're also very important, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's an honor to be a woman in this position. And currently, all 3 of the operations lieutenants at Nevada Highway Patrol and Southern Command are women. So day shift, graveyard, and swing shift all have female commanders, which is pretty unique. And, you know, we're very proud of that. When I wear this uniform, I don't, you know, think of my gender or see gender necessarily. You know, it's funny, I'll be walking into the office and a male will try to hold the door open for me, you know, that knighthood or whatever you want to call it. And I'm like, hey, in this uniform, I'm just a trooper. So you kind of forget. But I also remember the impact and the differences a female can have out on scenes and out on calls. So, you know, that kinder, gentler side that some women have can really come into play on these scenes. Just a couple weeks ago, you know, we had a pretty rough CPS call scene, and I remember the mom involved reacted and was much easier to deal with female to female. And, you know, sometimes kids do better female, you know, like mother figures. So we can have such an impact, and we can relay that over into with our employees too. Like the major said, we are so family oriented in our agency. We're such a small agency. We know everyone by face and by name, not just by P number. And I really, you know, use my womanhood in that role, you know, and taking care of my people.
And your husband, you know what I mean? He trains people, right?
Yes.
So what does he do?
So he was also with the Highway Patrol, but he's currently the captain or the chief over our training division. So he runs our academies in Carson City and Las Vegas.
And
Again,
so he's getting new troopers. I mean, like, so what he's doing is emulating all the way down, just like the major said, and everything like that. Right?
Absolutely. I mean, I'm biased, but he's one of the greatest leaders that I know. And so he's perfect for that position. He has a military background. And like I said, I've worked side by side with him in this role. And he just has a way with people and this contagious passion for everything he does. He's been with the department for over 23 years, and he still loves it and still would go out on the road today and do the job. So he's the perfect person to try to bring people in and really, you know, get them to feel the same way that he does about the job, but also while training them and preparing them for what we have to face on a day-to-day basis.
We always talk about the Trooper McClarty.
Yes.
Right, you know, and the fact of that, you know, trying to get new people to join and things, and he goes out on the Saturdays and he'll help you train and, you know, do all that. And the fact is that in order to get the new troopers prepared, you need someone that has that type of feeling, and so it's very, very important.
Yeah, it's awesome. You know, we finally do have sworn recruiters who, like Officer McClarty, are out there in the real world, in the field, and trying to bring those people in. And trust me, I feel it every day with being shorthanded. So my husband hears about it every night about how he needs to get us more troops, which trickles down to Officer McClarty. And I know he's out there, you know, doing the best that he can to really bring people in. And you know, it benefits us, but really it is an amazing career. People have no idea till they get into it. And I really feel so lucky and blessed to be here, not just in a law enforcement career, but with this specific agency.
Well, that's a perfect lead-in. If you could look at that camera right here and tell everyone why they want to join and hang out with you.
You want it short and sweet?
Whatever you want.
Okay. I couldn't urge you more. If you are interested in a career in law enforcement, interested in a career in making change, making an impact out there in the community, the Nevada State Police is the place to go. We will treat you like family. The benefits are beyond belief. You should go to nevadastatepolice.com today and apply.
So, Lieutenant Stunkel, you know, I can't thank you enough for coming on the 100th episode and spending some time with us. And as I said to you, you know, the admiration that that I feel for you, and again, within you, you have your career, you had your family, right?
Yeah.
Your small boy, and you know, and other members of your family, and you put that all aside 3 years ago. And so the love that I feel, I appreciate you very much.
Thank you. It's just really important, and I never want to be in the situation that any of those widows have had to be in, but it's the least that we can do for them. So.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah.
All right, well, look here. No, you got to
Oh,
look one more camera.
okay, one more camera.
Just wave. See you later.
Bye. Thank you.
Here we are live at the 360 Vegas studios. We have a special guest, Sergeant Smacka. Now, Sergeant Smacka, a lot of people don't know, but before Trooper Talk, you and I started filming when Sergeant Bracek was sort of the PIO and he was leaving, and you and I thought of this great idea that we could talk and we could, you know, get the word out, and we didn't really know the way to do it.
Yeah.
But like we figured, let's try it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so to have you here, we talked before we went on the air. You're very special to me, and to be able to have you here today is very overwhelming for me.
Oh, it's a pleasure to be here. It's a great opportunity. Who would have thought, you know, almost 2 years ago that here we are at 100 episodes. It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's just what a great story, and to have 100 episodes out there and getting the message out and trying to get people to drive safe and try to save some lives on our roadways. It's important.
And everybody always asks what happened. Like, you know, where did Sergeant Smacka go, right? And so you were the PIO,
Yes.
and then you got promoted, and now you have troopers underneath you that look up to you in ways, not only being a trooper, but in a personal way and all that type of stuff, right?
Yes, yeah. I've promoted, and now I work overnight still here in Las Vegas, working urban traffic. And every night we are out there patrolling the highways and removing impaired drivers from our roadways, stopping dangerous people who are trying to victimize innocent people, investigating crashes, and just doing everything we can with the goal of leaving the city safer than we found it at the beginning of our shift.
Yeah, and doing a fantastic job, and I know it's very overwhelming. You know, I mean, people are not heeding the call to slow down and to stop the impaired driving and to, you know, stop these things. And so we hope that, you know, when it comes to the Trooper Talk, you know, we're helping to send that message out in the best possible way that we can.
Yes, getting the message out and communicating with both the citizens and visitors of Las Vegas about the importance of driving while sober and driving within your limits, driving on, you know, at the speed limit at the very least. Every night we are taking people to jail for driving at speeds of 120 miles an hour. To me, that's absolutely insane. Anything that happens to you at 120 miles an hour, you can have a blowout. You can have to change lanes real quickly. Somebody cut in front of you. At those speeds, you're going to crash and you're going to lose your life. I've yet to see a crash where we're talking those kind of speeds where somebody survived.
Yeah, and people are not understanding that. Like, as much as we sit there and we talk about that, you know, we still see the shoes on the freeways from the people that are losing their lives. And, you know, these people are losing their lives, and they are affecting not only themselves, but they affect the family and all the people that grieve, and they just don't understand why.
No, and at these speeds, the injuries and the force of the collision is so violent and so grotesque that the families often don't even have a chance to properly say goodbye in a memorial service, because a lot of times their remains are so disfigured. I mean, it's horrible to have to experience the trauma that happens to the human body when you're talking to these violent collisions. These cars get so mangled when you're talking 100-mile-an-hour speeds and people driving wrong way when they're impaired, and these collisions are just so violent. It's hard to verbally articulate how bad it is.
Yeah, I sent you the text when after Trooper Wellman was here, and she told me that about you and making this phone call, and and my heart goes out to you. I mean,
Yeah,
it might be part of the job, but it's the heartfelt that, like, people that know you on a personal level, and they know that you're not some showboat and all these type of things, that you're just like a heartfelt guy.
Yes.
And you're just a genuine man that just, has feelings.
Yes. That's one of the hardest things about this job, is when you have to encounter family members and loved ones of people that have lost their lives on scenes that we're investigating, and trying to give them some relief, but there's really nothing you can do for them. There's nothing you can say when somebody's experiencing that kind of emotional devastation.
Yeah, it's heartfelt, and so we appreciate you. I know you worked all night. I know you came in early for me. I want you to know from the deepest bottom of my heart, I appreciate you, love you, think that you're fantastic. All the things that really mean everything. I want you to know that from my heart I feel towards you, and we could not have done this without you starting with me.
Yes.
And so for the 100th episode, you coming in today is really a dream for me, and so I want you to know that I appreciate it.
No, and feelings are likewise, Neil. I think the world of you, and I'm very proud to have a little piece of this great program, and congratulations on the 100 episodes. That's something to be proud of.
Yeah. Thank you. Sergeant Smacka, right? All right. We got to do one more thing before we go, though. Okay? We got to look at the camera, and we got to say hi to your mom and your wife.
All
okay?
right.
Your mom still watches the show?
Yes.
And so when we went to the promotion, we saw her and all that type of stuff. So we'll wave goodbye to them, and then Johnny will put that right on the TV for the 100th episode, okay?
Okay.
All right. Hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom.
Thanks so much for always watching, okay? 100th episode is for you, okay? All right, we'll see you later. Here we are again live at the 360 Vegas studios as another part of the 100th episode. We have Lieutenant Stunkel and we have Trooper Wellman here. Trooper Wellman, 100 episodes. So I had Sergeant Smacka here this morning. After he was on patrol, I sent him a text. I said, listen, if you get any time, maybe you just come by for a picture, right? I was telling you. So then when he came in, I said, okay, well, do you have 5 minutes to do a little bit of a recording? So you'll see the recording, and it's very good. And we talked for a little bit, and it was, it was a little bit emotional because it takes a lot of dedication to not only come here every week, but to continuously put like we were talking about in our segment, to keep pushing this message and pushing this message and pushing this message, and the majors said to push the message. And people still are today driving 100 miles an hour on the freeway with no care. And so thanks for being here. The feelings of friendship that have grown is tremendous, and I know when you talk to Lieutenant Stunkel, and you can feel that. Well, it's you can feel on the television if you allow yourself, and the people that watch the Trooper talk, they allow themselves. So, the floor is yours.
Just to say the same things that my counterparts have said, is just we're just so grateful for this opportunity and everything you've done for our agency and for the city. Being this extra platform for us to get out there and talk to our community and connect with our community members is just, it speaks volume. And so we're just so grateful for the opportunity and that you ultimately chose us. So thank you very much for all of this. I know for a fact that you've saved a life, at least one life, by somebody we've communicated through the television and the radio and stuff, and the newspaper. I mean, everything you've done just helped us get out there even more, and we're just so grateful for it.
Yeah, I was at lunch with a friend a few weeks ago, and maybe about a month ago, and it turned out that he was at dinner the night. He was at dinner right before that the person in the red truck had passed away at 2 o'clock in the morning on the 215 with the Cadillac.
It was a wrong way crash.
Right, and that person really was a very big part of his life. It was a husband and wife, you know what I mean? And so it's tragic, you know. And so people don't realize when they do these things that, like I say, you know, you want to die, jump off a bridge, you know what I mean? Like, no one's gonna care.
Yeah.
But to take people's lives that have nothing to do with you is just horrific, and it's just horrible. I just don't know. I want to keep screaming about it, but it's not doing it.
Yeah, well, I mean, all of your efforts make a difference, and life's too short as it is without adding the unnecessary risk. And like you said, putting other people's lives in danger.
Yeah. So this is the part of the show that we don't talk. Well, we talk, but here's what we do. We show pictures now. And so let me show you. So this part here, we found that when we talk about the pictures, people understand things when they see it on the TV versus just talking. So the structure fire in the air eastbound in the 215, I drive past this every day when I go for my drive in the morning. The first day after this, the smell was horrific.
It was still burning.
Yeah, it was, and so I didn't realize where it was, but it's right off to the side of the 215 there.
Yeah, and I mean, just the impact that this had. Obviously, our investigators are, you know, I'm sure still working on this, but a ton of agencies and resources had to come together for this. All we can say, though, is thankfully no one was hurt in this.
Yeah.
But the impact that it had on the economy, fiscally, everything, and we had the road shut down for a long time. I personally know someone who works for a company that was assisting in the construction with this building, and, you know, just devastated because equipment was ruined and all the time and effort that they've put into this building. So, you know, thankfully our first responders were there pretty quick, and, you know, our fire partners, everyone did everything they could. We kept the road safe by keeping it closed, but people don't understand the impact that something like this has.
And even, you know, not only are we assisting with traffic control, so this was a team effort to keep our community safe. So we had our fire department out there. We had to close down our highways. We even had local law enforcement closing down surface streets just to prevent it from spreading, as well as anybody else getting injured, or to prevent anyone from getting injured. We even had one of our divisions that we don't really talk about is our fire marshal, thank you. And they were out there on scene. And I actually had some people send in some photos to me of our fire marshal that was walking around the building, and their job is to determine why this occurred and investigate the fire. And that's part of Department of Public Safety, Nevada State Police. That's just one of our many divisions that we talk about.
Yes.
And, you know, so we all had a hand in this, and that fire affected everyone in the community. Every first responder was pretty much there. Whether it be medical, fire, law enforcement, you name it.
And the thing is that this is obviously very important, and it has a direct impact on, you know, the economy and everything like that. And this is taking resources away from things that people could be doing other things, and we're already shorthanded, you know, and so.
And like she brought up, the ripple effect is all the progress they made on this project, now they have to start over, and the cleanup. So the projects that were scheduled out from this construction crew and all the resources are now going to be delayed because of this one incident. And it's, you know, it's devastating.
You know, like you said, somebody you know that does this, you know, I've never done anything like this, but I'm sure, like you said, they have projections for the next 3 months or 4 months or 6 months or, you know, so. Well, thanks for doing everything that you do, but, you know, it's devastating. Open testing. Ah, yes.
Yes, so this was in our Reno area.
Yes.
And we actually had a phenomenal turnout. We had over 50 candidates show up. They were able to take our written test as well as our physical fitness test right there. We had multiple divisions show up, as well as our civilian recruiter. So this was all hands on deck. to get these individuals quickly through the process, because we are hiring just like every other agency, but now we have that pay raise coming, so we want to get as many people in as possible, and good quality candidates, that is. So if you have a passion to serve and protect your community, and you want that take-home car, and you want to have the title either trooper, officer, you know, and you want to work for the state, Nevada State Police specifically, then go on nevadastatepolice.com and apply today.
Yeah, and go on.
Oh, well, we just briefly talked about, you know, the options with all the divisions, and
Yeah.
fire marshal wasn't even mentioned, our investigation division, the take-home car. But this is perfect segue into the fact that you can move around the state, too. I mean, this event took place in Reno because we are the Nevada State Police. So you live in Vegas, but you want to, you know, move in 10 years to Reno, Carson, Elko.
Tahoe.
You have those options. You can be assigned to the Tahoe area and patrol the Nevada side of the lake and live in the snow. It's
Like vacation.
It is, yeah. So
Yeah.
just so many options.
And I look around the room here, and you know, nobody looks the same,
Right.
right? And so that's what we talk about, the fact that, you know, it doesn't matter what you look like or anything like that. It's a matter of what your true passion is, to become any one of these things. You know, it is interesting because we don't really talk about we talk about parole and probation and things of that nature, but we don't really get a chance to talk about the fire marshal and the investigative units that are part of the state that actually go out and do these things. And, you know, that might be what somebody has their passion for.
Yeah, not everyone just wants to be a uniformed patrol officer. I know I didn't initially ever think I was going to be a cop. I was interested in the criminal justice field and being a lawyer. It took doing a ride along, just being offered one and doing one, that really sparked that passion inside of me. Like, this is awesome and way better than being in a courtroom or more years of, you know, law school. So if someone's even got the tiniest inkling of being interested, they should come see what it's all about. And you might just have that passion, like social work and wanting to help people, and you have that combined with a little bit of the law enforcement aspect with parole and probation. You get to help people get back into the community, and like I said, that really true social work aspect.
And she brings up a great point. I know we've touched on it before, but for those of you that are just joining, we offer ride-alongs to our community members. You do go through a little background check, but as long as you qualify with age and the background check, you can come do a ride-along with us and actually walk in our shoes and see if this is a good fit for you, because the last thing we want is you to go through the entire testing process and then you to realize this isn't the right fit for you. Not only is that going to tie up our resources and funding, but also your time is money as well. And so we want to make sure that this is the right fit for you. And then anybody that's thinking about a career in law enforcement, whether that be civilian or sworn, if you're at age 18 and you're just graduating high school and you're in the crossroads of deciding what you want to do with your career, you know, I encourage you to come do a sit-along with our dispatchers. Our dispatcher, you can be 18 years old and get on with our dispatch. And that is a great stepping stone to branch out into other divisions, or maybe that'll be your passion and being on the other end, because, you know, our dispatch is our lifeline. If we didn't have them, we couldn't operate. And so dispatch is a great other division within us that I highly encourage someone to come do a sit-along or a ride-along.
Yeah, and you did the thing when you were younger.
I was an explorer.
Explorer,
yep,
right,
with another
right,
agency
right.
here
but,
in town. Yeah.
You know, the thing is that when you're of an age where you just graduated high school, there's a lot of options, and so the Nevada State Police offers those options.
Absolutely.
Because they're interested in wanting you for a longevity career.
Yes.
Yeah. I saw this the other day.
This one sucked yesterday.
So the thing is this, one of the things that we talk about is the fact that, like, you know, that guy back there that's turned the corner that can't see the cement truck is really mad. And he doesn't understand why somebody just can't open up the road and doesn't realize that a cement truck is poured its cement load on the road.
Yeah, I mean, it's shocking. Sometimes people drive by these and yell at us to open the road. And I mean, in this situation, we literally can't. We let the cement dry and then the road's just completely ruined.
So we had to scrape it.
Yeah, but you're right. It is frustrating. We all get frustrated when we sit in traffic. Generally, we know something's going on up ahead and we hope it clears up quickly. But we just ask for the community's patience, especially with fatal investigations. It's really disheartening when people are so upset, but I understand the inconvenience and, again, the economic impact. But we owe a service to those families to do a thorough investigation, and that takes time. The more resources that we get and the better equipment that we get, the faster that we can do them. I'm sure today, compared to 10 years ago, we're doing them much faster than we were. But people just need to understand that if it was their loved one, they would want that same respect and that same investigation. So we just ask that people be patient and don't create those secondary hazards and secondary crashes and fights and the things that we see because of these traffic delays.
Yeah, and you totally know that somebody wants to get out of the car and like start moving people, and there's just nowhere to move. Like you know what I mean? Yeah. It's like and that's just the end of it, right?
Luckily, yesterday we were able to open up the far left travel lane and let traffic come through while we conducted cleanup. For the sake of this photo, we did have it shut down for the moment because we were reevaluating if we were gonna be able to open it or not. But you know, this is one of those examples where people are sitting in traffic and they can't see up ahead, and that's where it's important for my role to communicate with our local agencies and our local news agencies to make sure we let people know what is happening on their roadways and what is happening up ahead, and if there is danger up ahead, and why this road is shut and for how long. And so that's why we really utilize our Twitter, and we've talked about that. You know, NV State Police.
Right.
You can see updates constantly. You can also go on Nevada Department of Transportation's website. They're constantly updating road closures to stay so that you can plan your route accordingly.
Yeah.
And I will say our agency is very well trained and very well versed, and aside from safety, one of our first priorities is opening the roadway. We go through extensive training, and I take pride in saying we're probably the best agency in the state, maybe even this part of the country, in getting our roadways open when we can. And we're one of the first municipalities that works directly with NDOT, FAST, our Freeway Arterial System company, and RTC, Regional Transportation Commission. We're all housed together. Our dispatches are communicating instantly when we have road closures like this. The community probably doesn't even know how hard we are working behind the scenes, and so many people are changing light timing signals on the ramps of these highways to get these vehicles moving. The signs to alert drivers, again, not just her social media, but NDOT's, RTC's, just spreading that word and getting resources to this scene. If you notice, we have traffic control. Rather than just our little cones in our vehicle, we have heavy duty traffic control provided for us, and they're listening to our radios and communicating and getting us those resources so we can get this cleaned up sooner.
Yeah, and I don't even know how you move this thing, you know, like you said, I mean, after the cement is dried or whatever, but it's still like a huge truck. I mean, it's not like, you know, a tow truck comes over and just, you know, and so.
They had to actually lift the mixer part off first, and then they flipped the truck, and then they ended up doing the cleanup on the roadway, which they had to scrape the cement because it had hardened already.
Yeah, any of these big rigs that crash, every single one is different. And shout out to our tow truck companies and drivers because they do amazing things. Yeah. They're there quickly. And I look at stuff and I'm like, they're never going to be able to. And they maneuver stuff and take stuff apart, and they overturn semis with full loads that are bursting at the seams and keep it all together to, you know, prevent even more cleanup, and it's just amazing what they can do.
Yeah. Their goal is to get that roadway open just like us, so we all work together as one team with a unified mission, and that's to get the road open.
Get the road open. and if you're that guy back there, the last thing to say is that with all the things behind the scenes, one of the things that I love is that the Twitter feed is always updating. And so you can see that as well.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
And a lot of that behind the scenes communicates with those apps like your maps and your Waze and all that. So you can't always prevent it because this could have happened, you know, seconds in front of you and then you're stuck. But before you go somewhere, check your route and check those resources so that you know what you have so you're not frustrated or late.
Technology is a great thing.
Yeah.
If I can just point out real quick, I don't know if anybody else saw this.
No, I want to see.
When I tweeted these images out,
what did I missing?
It's kind of zoomed in, but can you guys see the face? It looks like two little eyes on the truck. Like it looks
guy's
like
still in there?
No, I'm sorry. The truck looks like it has like the seats look like two eyes. You see it?
It does look
yes,
It's a little more zoomed out when on the Twitter feed, but for a second I was like,
Yeah.
it looks like a little face,
The
like.
It does
seats
look
look
like a
like
little
eyes.
And I
face.
thought of like the Disney
He's
cars
so
or
It
sad.
something.
looks like
yeah.
the Dumbo or whatever the Goofy
Mater
Dumbo.
turned
Right.
over
Yeah,
or
it's
something.
Mater. I know, he's
Oh, that
very
is-
sad.
That's very sad.
I
That
can't
is very
unsee it
funny.
now.
You know, here's what I would say to you, that in your profession, with as much tragedy and things like this that you do see, you have to find ways to talk and communicate and laugh about these type of things. or
Yeah.
You just can't do it.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. I can't thank you both enough for everything that you do, for obviously for the full support that you do for me and for all that stuff. And so it's really wonderful, and I'm glad that we got to share this episode.
Me too.
We're just gonna look at that camera and we're gonna give a final wave, and that's it. The episode is over. Ready?
All right.
All right. Thank you again. Bye bye.